Hello and welcome. If you stop eating completely, what's the very last thing your body refuses to give up? I'm not talking about willpower or your favorite snack. I'm talking about a deeply wired survival system. Your body will go to extraordinary lengths to protect your blood glucose, but only for a few very specific tissues. It's a fascinating process, and by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly how it works. First, a quick disclaimer. This is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Fasting can be unsafe for some individuals, especially those with diabetes on certain medications, those who are pregnant, underweight, or have a history of eating disorders. Always speak with your clinician before making any changes. So, what exactly is fasting? In simple terms, it's just a period where you're not consuming any calories. In the next 10 minutes, we're going to walk through what happens in your body step by step. We'll cover how your body uses its stored sugar, then switches to burning fat, starts making ketones, and finally, how it protects its most vital resources. Let's start with phase 1, the first few hours of a fast. Your body's immediate goal is to keep your blood sugar, or blood glucose, stable. To do this, it taps into its short-term glucose storage tank, a molecule called glycogen, which is mostly stored in your liver. Think of your liver glycogen as a readily available backup battery for glucose. As you fast, your body starts drawing from this tank, breaking down glycogen to release glucose into the bloodstream to fuel your cells. This process keeps everything running smoothly for the first several hours, or even up to a day, depending on how full your tank was to begin with. But that glycogen tank isn't bottomless. Once it starts to run low, your body needs a new strategy. This brings us to phase 2. Switching to a more abundant fuel source fat. Your body signals your fat cells to start breaking down stored triglycerides into fatty acids. This process is called lipolysis. These fatty acids are then released into your bloodstream and can be used directly as fuel by many of your tissues, like your heart and skeletal muscles. At the same time, your liver gets to work on a very clever process. It takes some of those fatty acids and converts them into special energy molecules called ketones, specifically beta-hydroxybutyrate and acetoacetate. These ketones are water-soluble, so they can travel through the blood and serve as an excellent alternative fuel source, especially for your brain. This switch from burning glucose to burning primarily fat and ketones is a critical adaptation for surviving a period without food. So if most of your body can run on fat and ketones, what's the big deal? Why does the body still care about glucose? This brings us to the core answer of our video. The last thing your body protects isn't a specific organ, but rather a stable level of blood glucose. It fights incredibly hard to keep your blood glucose from dropping too low, because some cells are what we call obligate glucose users. They absolutely must have glucose to function. The most important example of this is your red blood cells. Red blood cells are unique. They don't have mitochondria, which are the powerhouses inside other cells that can burn fat and ketones for energy. Without mitochondria, red blood cells are completely dependent on a simpler energy process called glycolysis, which requires glucose. They are responsible for carrying oxygen to every single tissue in your body, so their survival is non-negotiable. Your body prioritizes keeping them fueled, no matter what. So how does your body keep making glucose when there's none coming from food and the glycogen stores are empty? It uses a process called gluconeogenesis, which literally means making new glucose. This incredible metabolic pathway happens primarily in your liver, with your kidneys helping out too during a prolonged fast. The body is an amazing recycler. It can make new glucose from several sources. It uses lactate, a byproduct from your muscles and red blood cells. It uses glycerol, which is the backbone of the fat molecules you've been breaking down. And it can also use certain amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein. Now, this is where a common fear about fasting comes in. Will I immediately start burning all my muscle for fuel? It's a valid question, but the body has another brilliant adaptation called protein sparing. As your fast continues, your brain, which is a huge consumer of glucose, gets better and better at using ketones for energy. As your brain adapts to using more ketones, its demand for glucose decreases significantly. This reduced demand for glucose means the body doesn't need to break down as much protein from your muscles to supply amino acids for gluconeogenesis. While some muscle loss can occur in a very prolonged fast, this shift to ketone metabolism is a powerful mechanism designed to preserve your vital muscle tissue for as long as possible. Understanding this physiology also helps us understand why fasting isn't safe for everyone. People on certain diabetes medications like insulin or sulfonylureas risk dangerously low blood sugar. During pregnancy and breastfeeding, the energy and nutrient demands are simply too high. For those with a history of eating disorders, fasting can be a significant trigger. And it's generally not recommended for anyone under 18 who is still growing or for frail older adults. If you have any chronic disease or are on medication, it's essential to talk to your clinician first. So to recap it all in one sentence, the last thing your body protects during fasting is a stable blood glucose level, primarily for glucose-dependent tissues like red blood cells, and it accomplishes this through a brilliant metabolic shift involving gluconeogenesis and ketone production to spare protein. From glycogen to fat to ketones, all to protect that vital supply of blood glucose. The science behind fasting is truly amazing. If you found this helpful and want to see a part 2 explaining what really breaks a fast from a metabolic perspective, let me know by commenting part 2 down below. Thank you for watching. If you learned something today, please give this video a like and subscribe for more evidence-based health content. See you next time.